If you can put that on the ground, at least to hold your fire, that's going to give you, number one, it's going to burn down into that fuel eventually. So it's going to give your place a fire. It's going to give your fire a place to be, but it's also going to help keep that fire from being on the ground. And what I like to do is I like to stack this up a little bit so that I've got a backstop or a backdrop. Okay, because remember what we talked about? We talked about the oxygen flow. The best thing to do is get oxygen underneath your fire is to elevate your stuff. Okay? How many of you guys got this kind of stuff right here? Anybody got this kind of stuff right here? This is a pokeweed. A dead pokeweed plant is what this is. If you look at the inside of this, it's real pithy on the inside. And it just splinters. Remember how we talked about surface area and quick combustion? This kind of stuff's pretty highly combustible. See, look at that. Skin on that thing. Okay? So that's all going to be good stuff. This will catch fire really quick. Now that's not going to be that's going to be part of my tinder, but it's not my bird nest. My bird nest is going to be this, the one cotton ball. Remember we talked about processing this stuff. So we want to break it up a little bit. You don't necessarily have to shred every ounce of it, but you're going to want to shred the heavy bark parts, at least into finer hairs, so that when you do start your fire, it'll start quickly for you, and it'll go up in quick flames. Remember what I told you guys about your fire, that a big percentage of your fire success or fail is in the processing initially of the material. Starting the fire is the easy part. The hard part's getting the material right to begin with. So I'm going to turn this thing inside of itself a few times and just shred it and rip it. And get myself something that looks like what? Bird nest. Bird nest, okay. Exactly. And the object of this game is, what you really want is, you're trying to conserve what?
Calories. Energy.
Calories, energy, same things, okay? So you don't have to strike this thing 48 times to get this fire. 1, 2, 3 times, that should be, if it takes that many, you got a different problem you need to figure out. So I got my cotton ball. What am I going to do with that? Increase the surface area by shredding it, right? I'm going to put that in the middle of my bird nest. Leave those fibers sticking up. Don't compress it too much, because those fibers are what you want to catch your sparks. And I'm going to tuck that right here, a little bit of an angle like this. Then I want my most combustible material on that thing first. I know this stuff is highly combustible, so I'm going to lay it off to the side here for a minute. Elevate it, just like this. It's all about prepping this stuff, is what this stuff is all about. Then I'm going to get myself some small sticks that I know are dead. Well, how do I know they're dead? Crack. Okay, you guys talked about that while you're out collecting tinder, right? So I'm going to get myself a pretty good pile of those. That one's wet. You touch it to your face and it's cold, it's probably wet. Toss it aside. Don't use it initially, if you can help it. The drier stuff you use initially, the better off you're going to be. Usually the ends of branches are the ones that are going to be the driest. You get this stuff broke up. I like to break my tinder up, or my kindling up, in pieces 6 to 8 to 10 inches long at the most. And set it off to the side of my bird nest a little bit like this. Those are a little bit big right there, but it'll be okay. And I'm just I'm prepping this stuff right now. I'm not doing anything but prepping. I'm not worried about starting a fire at the moment. All I'm worried about is prepping my fire lay. So I'm just kind of separating stuff. The highest combustible material over here. The next highest combustible material is over off to this side. this stuff's a little bigger yet. I'm going to kind of set it over here off to this side for a second. Got a little dampness to it. Okay. At this point, I'm looking at this stuff as fuel. A little more kindling right there. Fuel. So I got 3 piles, right? I got tinder, I got kindling, and I got fuel. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start taking some of my highest combustible material, and I'm going to lay it over the top of this, giving it plenty of surface area, giving it plenty of room to breathe. I don't want to stack this stuff in here tight. I just want to stack it on loose, just like it's like pickup sticks. Okay? But I gotta give myself enough room in here to get my ferro rod in there. Now I've given myself plenty of room for this fire to breathe. Okay, everybody see that so far? Ferro rods, okay? Remember we talked about your ferro rod doesn't spark because your ferro rod's not sparking because your knife is making a spark. A ferro rod is made up of material that's called pyrophoric. All right, pyrophoric material means that when microscopic amounts of that material are scraped off and combust with oxygen, they spontaneously combust. Okay, iron, magnesium, those are all pyrophorics. So when you strike sparks off the back of your knife, the rock's not throwing the sparks. It's the particles of iron that are coming off the back of your knife, which is why it has to be high carbon steel, that spontaneously combust with the oxygen to make a spark. The difference is the sparks you get off the back of this knife are 800 degrees. The sparks you get off this ferro rod are 2,000 degrees. Flint and steel, 800 degrees. Ferro rod, 2,000 degrees. That's the big difference as far as the ability to make fire between a ferro rod and flint and steel. You guys are going to do both today. So you're going to have to rub any coating that you've got or oxidization off that ferro rod so you get down to bare metal. Once you get that thing down to bare metal, it shouldn't take much to get it to throw sparks. Okay? That's what you want. Okay? When you use this ferro rod to spark your fire, you're not going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to pull your ferro rod towards you and keep that knife in control, or whatever you're using to spark your ferro rod with the control. So you got to get yourself some space here so you can get in there. And you should be able to get that hand buried pretty good. And then you should be able to just walk away from that thing. It shouldn't take any more than that. And it shouldn't take any babysitting. If you got your fire built right and your fire lays right, then to just spark that thing up and back off of it. Take your time, mess around, get your stuff put away, put your ferro rod up so you're not losing anything, and let that fire breathe. Now I can add more material again. I'm up above. I can stack more stuff on there. And now, when I've got that much heat, it doesn't matter at this point if some of my stuff is damp. I don't even care anymore. Because now I'm going to dry that damp stuff out. But once I put some damp stuff on there, I'm going to wait again until my flames are above the fuel to add more. Everybody think they got this concept down? Okay. Your one cotton ball fire is a deliverable for this class. Okay. You only got 3 strikes to make it happen with that ferro rod. You seen I just did it in 1. 3's not that hard. Make sure that you got that ferro rod striking good before you even start. Make sure you got all the coating off of it. Make sure you're down to bare metal. Strike it a couple times in the air to make sure you're getting good spark. Make sure your fire lays right. Make sure your bird nest is right. Make sure you got plenty of oxygen in there. Get up close in there and hold that knife still. Get as close as you can to that tinder that's highly combustible like your cotton ball, and just rake it as hard as you can. Pull up on it a little bit and pull it towards you. That'll rake that material off there and get that magnesium going through there really hard and hot and give you a lot of hot sparks. Okay? That's pretty much a sustainable fire. I can walk away from this right now to go get more stuff, and it's not going anywhere. There is no doubt in my mind that fire's not going to burn out anytime soon. Okay? Everybody got it? All right, what I want you guys to do is get with your group leader, get with your instructor. We're going to go on that side of the tree line, the other side of the tree line, anywhere down that road.